So, welcome to another episode. We have Britnee Marks, who was on season 15 of The Bachelor with Brad Womack. Brad was a very controversial bachelor as he rejected both of his top two women. And then, after all of that, ABC gave Brad a second shot at love. So, Britney is here to talk about what it was like to be on Brad's second season and to kind of give some info and insight on what it's like to be on The Bachelor. So, welcome, Britney.
Hi, how are you? It
Good. How are
definitely,
you?
I'm gonna say this definitely changes your outlook when you watch any kind of reality TV from that point. Like once being on the show, it kind of ruins it for
Mm.
you in a way. But yeah,
No.
a little bit. You're like, especially in interviews, like the way that they answer questions, what's going on behind the scenes.
So you had mentioned to me that there was supposed to be a different bachelor for your season. I wasn't aware of that.
Yeah, so the season before mine, so what happens is every bachelor that comes on, they don't do it anymore, but they usually take the guy from the Bachelorette, like out of the top five, they'll choose the next guy. And the next guy, the or Bachelorette before me was Allie, get her last name, but Chris Lambton
Mhm.
was supposed to be my bachelor. And I knew Craig Robinson from that season because our firms were merging together. So he was just
Mhm.
coming off of The Bachelorette. I was going on. So our firm, he worked for a law firm and I worked for a law firm. They were like, hey, we have someone coming in. Why don't you give her the scoop? We met for lunch. He gave me the whole inside scoop. He's like, I know Chris. We were best friends on the show. Let me give him a call. And I was like, amazing. Do not pick me. Bring me to the end. I want to be the next Bachelorette because they won't let you be a Bachelorette unless you've been on the show because America doesn't
Right.
like random women, apparently, according to them.
Right.
So that ruined it because he went to, so normally, like after the show wraps, you do a reunion party and other people from other seasons come on. He ends up meeting Peyton. They fall in love. And he says, like a couple weeks before the show, I'm not doing it. I'm totally in love with someone. You got to find someone else. I was like, wait, what?
Wow.
So producers start getting calls and they're like, hey, Chris dropped out. Is there anyone from a past season that you would be interested in as seeing as the next Bachelor? We had no idea who it is. Sitting on a plane in Colorado on a layover waiting. And I guess it hits the newsstands like that day. My mom calls me. She's like, you'll never guess who it is. It's Brad Womack. I'm like, you gotta be freaking kidding me. I'm like, the guy's 4 years old. I had just turned 25. We were all cast really young. So no one knew who it was, but I had brought a burner phone with me. You're not allowed to do that. Like back then, I had a BlackBerry, but I had a burner phone
Uh-huh.
that I hid inside a shoe because they go through your luggage. So
Yeah.
you're only allowed to bring, I think you're only allowed to bring two suitcases. I don't listen to that. Like one suitcase is just like food. So I had hid my phone in one of my shoes. So when they come in, they go through all your things. They disconnect your phone. You can't leave the room. You have handlers. You're trapped in this room for, I want to say a week, right
Wow.
before you start filming for the show. So I was calling my mom and getting like the outside, what is going on this? What I want to know. But in between that, you're getting producers that are pulling you around saying like, we have marks, we're moving to this floor, make sure so-and-so's done. Like you're not allowed to see anybody. So you're doing all kinds of promos and things. So I go into a room and there is just like 10 or 15 producers sitting there. And they're like, we want you, what are you going to do for your opening line when you first meet him? And at that point, I had no idea. I was like, I really don't know. I want him to come and open my door.
Yeah.
And they were like, well, he's not going to do that. I was like, we'll see. So then
I would
they're
want
like,
that
how is,
too.
yeah, like open my door, be a gentleman. So I
Yeah.
sitting there and one of the producers says, how do you feel about slapping him across the face? I'm like, what do you mean?
What?
I don't like to put my hands on someone I've never met before. For what reason? And they're like, well, our reasoning is we want to have someone smack him in the face and say, this is for not choosing someone the last time. And I'm like, well, that doesn't make sense because if he didn't choose anyone, then he wouldn't be here for a second time. So why would I
Mm.
yell at him? They ended up getting Chantel to do it because I wasn't going to. Mine was a fight in the limo. So you have five girls in a car, and I was arguing with one of the producers. I was the last one to get out, and she wanted to give me running shoes. I don't run. So I was like, well, this is stupid. I'm not running. I don't run. I think she said, give them the shoes. Say, I'm done running. And now it's my time to chase you. I'm not doing it. So this was it felt like only a few minutes, but I guess it was long enough for the car battery to just turn off because we're idling for so long in the car. And the producer, this is the car, he gets on the ticket and says, we got a problem. Marks is being extremely difficult. We don't know what she's going to do to get out of the car. It's going to be freaking kidding me. So we have to restart the car. I roll down the window halfway and I wait for him to come over. He comes over and he opened up my door. And that's how that happened. But that hit, I think it was Leno had it on them. They put a gun in my hand. It was like a whole spoof thing happened. But
that is so funny.
It's a process. It's a long, draining process. But yeah.
Do they choose your outfits, or you get to bring whatever clothes you want to wear?
You get to bring whatever clothes you want to wear, but they will look at your clothes and try to push you to wear something that they want you to wear out of your own clothes. And they don't provide, so you can share clothes once you meet the other girls. You can share their clothes. They don't have makeup artists. They did have someone touch you up because they were your eyebrows have to, a lot. Your eyebrows have to be super dark. You look ridiculous, but the lights are so many lights that your eyebrows disappear on camera. So you're talking to everyone, and everyone's eyebrows are so dark. It's how do you take anyone seriously?
That's so funny.
It's ridiculous. And by the way, Chris Harrison is this big. He stands on a box.
Really?
Yeah.
No.
I think everyone's so tall. No. I felt not only just taller than him, but bigger than him.
What did you think of Chris Harrison? Was he nice to all the contestants?
He was. He was kind of I come in only when I need to be there. So he didn't mingle or really talk to anybody. So it was he was kind of in and out. Hey, what's going on? Hi, how are you? But nothing really social.
Got it.
But nice guy. Yeah, it's weird. I haven't watched the show since because it's just weird now.
I know. I feel like so much has changed. Speaking of how it is now, it's you see so many women are now going on the show and they're able to have this whole career as a social media influencer after it. Do you think that makes it harder for the bachelors to find love compared to when you were on? Because there wasn't really so much of social media playing a role in it, right? Instagram wasn't that big yet.
Right. Twitter had just hit. When I did my interview and everything was done on a digital camera. We didn't have iPhones and things like that. iPhone was kind of just making its debut in a sense. Still looked like the iPod kind of thing. My cat's gonna be annoying. Yeah, it was weird. So Twitter was just starting. So after each episode, we all had to tweet certain things, but we didn't have. It was just Facebook. It wasn't Instagram. Wasn't a thing yet. So it was a lot different. You didn't have people trying to jump on just to promote themselves or just get their name out there. It was just hey, for somebody that's not as, can I say, douchey in the Philadelphia area.
So could you tell the other women that were on the show that they were really in it to find their person, and it felt very genuine?
Oh yeah, Michelle Money. I remember walking in, the first person I saw. And I was the fifth limo. So there was a bonus limo behind me. No, she was greeting everyone. Gorgeous girl. Michelle Money. I don't know if you've seen her, but she was controversial on the show.
Yeah.
She was black. She was nuts. Love her. Nuts.
Yeah.
But
she's stunning.
She was greeting everybody as we were coming into the house, asking how old everyone was. But she was the oldest one. So she was what do you know about love? You don't know anything about life. You're a child. Which at the time I'm thinking what the heck, what? Because I've always been obsessed with love, wanted to find it, and I'm thinking what does she know? But now being, if I was her age, I would think the same thing. What is when I see somebody go on these love shows looking for something, you're 21, what do you know about life?
Right.
But yeah, it was interesting to see the different dynamics, people that were really going for it immediately, and the ones that were kind of just laid back, that just wanted to kind of see what's going on and make friendships, because we're all going through the same thing. We all got along really well. except for 2 people, which at one point in the evening, the producers were like, look, everyone's getting along way too swimmingly. Something needs to happen. So I was like, Nicole, I guess you and Melissa are going for it. Because they didn't like each other for whatever reason. I don't even know. I'm like, we all just got here. Like, what? Everyone was just so excited to see a person. Where are you from? What are you doing? The producer's like, no, you are not allowed to have conversations. You have 5 topics to talk about. How cute you think the Bachelor is. What do you think about him? What are you going to talk to him about? Like, you are not allowed to talk about anything other than what they told you to talk about. So it's like when people say it's scripted, it's not scripted, it's extremely controlled. Which is, I don't know how to be controlled like that.
Do you think that because of how controlled it is, it makes it so much harder for the Bachelor to find who their best match is because things are just being really manipulated?
Definitely. So it was interesting, like the first time when I sat down with Chris Lambton, he was the one that was supposed to be, well, not sat down with him, I'm sorry. I sat down with Craig and we had a telephone conference with Chris and they were filling me in on what to do and what not to do. So the first night they said, make sure, so when you get your room, they give you like an allowance and you can only call production or the like food, room service. So they said, make sure you eat a lot of food that day up until you're ready to leave the hotel room. Make sure you eat because they don't feed you. I mean, they put out in the kitchen like a vegetable tray. You have a vegetable tray for 30 people for all night long, and they just give you alcohol all night. So I knew if I was going to drink, pace myself, make sure I fill up on food so I'm not exhausted because it is a long night. My limo didn't pick me up until 6. We started doing the rose ceremony, I want to say around 2 a.m. and we didn't finish until the sun was coming up because the roosters in the back were going like during the filming, and we had to keep pausing, and you're exhausted. You're standing. I don't know how they do it now, but they had a row where girls stood on the floor, and then they had a little tiny, I'm telling you, it was like this wide, and you're in heels, and you're in heels all night, you're dying. They put me up on the top. So not only, like, when you see, like, a girl faint or whatever, you're like, totally get her. Like, what? I'm being on the show, like, got you, totally understand, I get it. Girl crying, I got you, you're exhausted, emotionally exhausted.
It's a lot. Yeah.
It is. Well, but, like, getting on the show, it's a lot. Like, the whole process is a lot. So, and it's draining. You're literally standing up there because he doesn't know anybody's name. So he literally says, like, one name, goes back into another room, and he's gone for forever. Just the rose ceremony is 2-3 hours long because he doesn't know anybody's name. I heard, and I don't know if this is true, but I heard that he is allowed to pick, I think, someone told me 5, but I heard 2 of his top people. And then production picks their top, like, 5, and he's allowed to include someone that he really wants in there or alternate the whatever. Okay. But other than that, like, find it? I don't know if I'm allowed to say that now. I'm not under contract. It's kind of production kind of chooses who they want, and he has to, that night, within a certain period of time, you don't even get that much time. I mean, my one-on-one with him was like, it felt like 2 seconds long. Everyone's in your face. You don't get a real sense of a person within that period of time. 30 girls within a certain period of time to try and really see. So production really does have a handle on, like, immediately who it is. And how they do it is who is the easiest, who is more easier to manipulate or become a character. Right. So for me, because I'm Jewish, I was told not to even, like, mention it, because then all of a sudden I am like an Orthodox Jew who keeps kosher and does all this. Like, I'm not, no, like, now I'm the Jew on the show. Like, you can't say one thing, because then it's just, that is who you are. And if you don't fall into that category of, like, yes, I will become this person that you want me to be, then you're being difficult, and I was being difficult. But at the same time, I said to him, like, you chose me for a reason, so just let me be me.
Right. That's, especially if you're somewhere to find love, like, the best way to find love, I think, is just showing up as your authentic self, just being your authentic self. And if you're not even giving people the space to do that, then that's another reason why I'm sure it's just that much harder to find, like, your match on the show.
Well, that's because it's yeah. how are you supposed to say? That's probably why a lot of the relationships don't work out in the end. It's because you're only showing one side of yourself such a short period of time. You think that person's
That is so
amazing.
true. Yeah.
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 Yeah. And then you're like, well, who is this?
Yeah. I don't even know this, but I'm just getting to know who they
you're
are.
just playing this person that you were told to play. So, yeah, it's definitely interesting. I mean, I wasn't there very long. We were called, like, my girlfriends, and that was, like, the biggest thing. I don't regret going on the show, but I do, okay, so I only have one regret. I regret not leaving on my own and being like, you know what, I'm out of here.
Yeah.
I only wanted to stay. I was like, maybe I could fake it till I make it. Worst faker, just to travel.
Yeah. Right? Right? They go to some nice places.
They went to Anguilla. They went to all these gorgeous places on my season, and I was like, damn it. If I would have just faked it for like another couple episodes, I could have gotten there.
No.
But, yeah.
Are you still friendly with any of the ladies?
So, sadly, my best friend, it was actually the three of us, we left together. They're actually behind me. So, Lacey, me, and Christy. So they call it like CC and BAM was like our thing. Like that's my initials is BAM, and they always call her CC. So in the Bachelor family, they know us as CC and BAM. But so it's Christy Caserta. She passed away in 2018. So the last time I actually saw, like the last time we were all together was for her funeral. We have been trying to get everyone. No, that's not true. Because Nikki Cappy, who was on Jake's season, we're really close. I see her a lot. So she lives in Chicago. So we've gone to Chicago and we've come here. And then Michelle Levy, who was on Brad's first season, we're really close. She lives in Jersey. So we hang out and go to dinner a lot too. But she's like made it all the way to hometown date.
Wow.
No, I should give you her information. She's got a lot of good stuff too, because she went all the way.
Yeah, that must have been an interesting experience because that was the season where he didn't pick a winner, right?
Right, yeah. So, and that was the thing with my season. It was like Emily, as soon as everyone saw Emily, because she was the winner of my season, they did like a whole like 3-page spread on her and everything. As soon as I saw her, I'm like, we're all screwed. I was like, look at her. We're done. Like, she's going to win. Her story's going to win. It was just like, they really pushed her. So, yeah, it's kind of like, yeah, no.
Yeah, that is crazy how I feel like they definitely pick favorites because then you'll see like some of the contestants getting a bad edit, some getting a good edit, and it's like you don't really know. You could just show up and they'll be like they feel like you're going to be the bad guy. So it's like,
100%.
What can you do?
That, and when I used to watch the show, like, because I was like, all right, now I'm going to like brief myself on the show just to like catch myself up, and I was like, I'm not going to be the crier. I'm not going to cry. I cried.
But it's like you can't help it.
I can't, but at the same time, they are really not nice. So to get you to cry, because I was like, I'm not upset, because I could care less that I don't know him and I wasn't interested in him. But what upset me is the reason why I went on the show was because my ex was a cheater. And when I was leaving the show, and they were like, oh, so you're not upset about it? I'm like, no. They're like, well, how does it feel to get rejected by another man? You had a boyfriend that cheated on you over and over again. Like, just bring it up, like trauma.
Wow.
And I was like, oh,
they know that's so evil. They know just what to say to get people to their breaking point.
They do, but they isolate you, and then they send a producer in and think they're your friend because they talk to you and you hang out. You have no one else to talk to because you're in a room a week by yourself. Well, I mean, like I talk to my mom.
Wait, so you're there for a week before you went through filming the first episode? Wow. And so for that full week, you're just doing like promos and you don't get to meet any of the girls or anything like that.
You're meeting attorneys, you're doing photo ops, you're doing more psychological testing, all kinds of stuff. So
wow. Hey, did you feel like you had to do anything to prepare? Or you can continue what you were like what it was like for that week before?
So the week before, I wasn't prepared for that because Craig didn't tell me that part.
Right.
I was like, guy, what are you doing to me? But he did tell me about the, like, bring a phone or something. So I did have the burner, which was nice. But getting on the show, So they narrow it down to 100 girls, and 50 of them in July go to California and do all kinds of testing, and then the other 50 go in early August, and then they narrow it down to the 25 or 30 or whatever when they want to do. And then you sign the contract and you start filming in September. I ended up going in July, and it's like a long weekend, but you're stuck in a hotel room again.
Wow.
You meet with private investigators. Do you have sex tapes? Do you have anything in your background that might come out? Like all kinds of stuff. Then it didn't matter, because for me, all I could think about is what is on my digital camera. Like, we didn't have your life recorded,
Right.
so I was like, go for it. Look for whatever you got. I got nothing.
It's not like it is now.
No, and now everything's recorded. You can't get away with anything. But it was a deep investigation, not even into me, but my immediate family, because anything that could come out embarrassing to them. Meet with another psychologist. You had to do a 700 questionnaire, and then
700 questions.
700 questions. And like, how many times can you ask, is my head attached to my body in like 7 different ways? Or do I think about killing other people? Like, it's very weird questions.
Okay.
I mean, it's interesting that they ask them, but the questions are weird. Like, do I think about cutting people's tongue? It's just weird. Like, I guess I want to know how psychotic you are. I guess I can.
Right.
But then you meet with more attorneys. You do STD testing. So they do like swab, blood tests. I'm trying to think what else we did. Oh, and then they give you a fun quiz. So after you're done that 700 whatever question quiz thing, you answer this questionnaire and quiz or whatever, that you're just kind of like just writing answers, not knowing that this is going to be your profile. So like, when they release your photo and they release your information about you, all of these fun quiz questions or whatever that they've asked you, that you've been like, I'm so over this, I'm just going to write the dumbest answer, is now posted for the world to see. And everyone comments on all of your stuff. You're like, if I would have known, I wouldn't have written that.
Yeah. So it's very sneaky, like the way that it's all.
Oh, yeah. So, but in those things too, it asks you about relationships and things that are sensitive to you that they could use against you in the end to upset you. So I know that, like, when Lacey was leaving, she was really close with her grandmother, and her grandmother had just passed away. So when she was leaving, she wasn't crying either. And they were like, so how would your grandmother feel? Would she be disappointed in you that you didn't make it? And she was like, are you kidding? Like, hold on, I'm gonna like start to tear up just a little bit. Like, plus you're exhausted. I mean, you're up for almost 24 hours. You haven't eaten. Most of the girls are like just getting sober again a little bit. You have like that alcohol. You're like, wait, I just went through all of this, and now I'm leaving. Like, now it's done. So you come in a limo. Now you're just like, hey, walk down this neighborhood in Malibu Hills and whatever, and you'll get picked up by this van. Like,
what?
Literally, they just send you on your way. You're literally, you walk out front, and production says, see ya. They book you a flight. It's not a direct one. I was on like 15 connecting flights going home. I was like, you gotta be kidding me.
Wow.
With us for like 48, I don't know, maybe longer. 48 hours, I think, or longer, without any sleep. It was rough.
That's crazy.
Yeah.
So did you have any kind of like attraction with Brad, or when he came in, it was just kind of like there was an age difference? He was kind of older. It just wasn't clicking. It just wasn't there.
It was everything. So I have this thing, if I can't fit into your jeans as a guy, they're skinnier than mine, then it can't work. So he's big, tiny too, like really small. I want to say he looks really tall, but he's not. And then they had so much foundation on him. I was like, the mandation on this guy, like, it just was not okay. But also because I do have a little bit of a Philly accent, when we sat down for our interview, and I said, do you mind if I just grab a glass of water? And they say, water? And he just like couldn't let it go. So I was like, you know what, we're done with this. Yeah, it was bad.
This is not happening.
I remember from the conversation, it was him talking to me about my accent. I was like, this is not going to go anywhere.
This is not it.
Something about like how he wanted, which I don't mind. Like I could go either way with like traditional values or whatever else or modern, but he wanted like barefoot pregnant in the kitchen. And I was like, I'm 25. I'm not really thinking about kids right now. I'm more thinking like, do we have a connection? Do we see going somewhere? Yeah, so it just was a total, we felt like we all got robbed. But we're all really close. A lot of us are really close.
Yeah, I'm surprised that's nice that you have like friendships that are coming out of that.
Yeah.
Because I feel like especially since they try to pin like the women against each other, it's nice that like you see through it.
It is. It's crazy. I mean, for whatever reason, Michelle so there were two Michelles on our season. Not Michelle Money, but the other Michelle from Florida. She, for whatever reason, her and Nicole just did not get along. And I'm like, I don't understand. They fought about the dumbest shit. Like, I don't know what it was, but they were the ones that were able to fuel the drama that all of us couldn't because we all liked each other. But there was a couple points in the night where they were like, everyone stop what you're doing. Love everyone here, but everyone's being way too nice to one another. So we're like, well, what do you want us to do? Like, it's only been a couple hours. Like, we're all really excited just to see another person. We all went through this experience, and we just felt completely bonded to one another immediately and wanted to know, like, what is your name? Where are you from? You're not even allowed to ask that. It's weird.
Have you ever seen the TV show? I think it's on Hulu. It was called Unreal.
I've heard of it, but I haven't seen it yet.
So basically, yes, you have to watch it. It basically just shows it's not a reality show, it's like a drama show, but it shows like the back end of what producers, how they manipulate and the things that they do to make things happen on like love shows.
Oh yeah. They'll do so if you pay attention to the way their interviews are conducted. So if you were asking me a question like we're doing now, I would have to answer it, but repeat the question that you just asked me in my answer. And then, so they'll be like, what do you think about Brad Womack? It's like, what do I think about Brad Womack being the Bachelorette? Like, it's weird. Like, it's always a repeat of what they've just asked you. So you know it's not a genuine question, like what I want to say. It's like it's leading the witness, I want to say. And it's also that in conversations with the group of girls. So they'll get everyone together on the couch, cram all in, and they'll say, okay, now that everyone has met him or met him one-on-one or in a group setting, now we want you guys to talk about what you think of him. So you'll see like different individual groups. So what did you think about Brad? So what did you think about so-and-so? So it's just, you literally repeat the same talking points all night. So, and this is what I stopped paying attention to that I was told to pay attention to. You get so exhausted talking about the same. So it's like, oh, what do you think about Brad? By the 19 times that you said it, you're like, so what do you think about him? That's the clip they show.
Yeah.
So it's like
it's so sneaky. They do it like so intentionally.
They really do. And what was it? It was Craig. Craig was like, I had sneezed in a scene or something, and they took the face that he had made after sneezing, and it was not an attractive one, and put it and edited it to make it look like he had made a face after someone said something. So it was like, oh, look at him. Like,
so that wasn't even
part of it.
Yeah. Wasn't even part of it.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
That's so crazy.
Yeah. But yeah, you get like mad. I was like, Alon, I can't believe you like betrayed me like this, Judith, over here, like throwing me under the bus. I told you that in confidence, and just like, yeah, you get really
well, now I see what you mean when you said in the beginning, like reality. Yeah. Because most of it is like so forced or not. It's almost like it's not reality. Yeah.
I mean, it's real in the sense that like you're not an actor and you're just a real person, but other than that, no, very guided.
What do you think was the most like challenging aspect?
I think the most challenging, there were a couple things. So I'm really, it's hard. Like I might not come off as an introvert, but I am very introverted.
Okay.
I am not I'm very comfortable one-on-one with people, but when you put me in a group setting, especially with a ton of women that I don't know, I tend to slip back and watch before I engage. So it takes me a little bit more time to open up. So I feel like if I would have opened up a little bit more with, and I'm not talking about just the show in general, just like with the other women up front, we would have had maybe a better time up front, because I didn't get to, my personality didn't really come in, or I didn't feel comfortable. I don't trust situations right away. Especially in that kind of situation. I mean, I don't know what's going on.
Right.
And I don't want to be portrayed as someone that I'm not. So I felt like maybe I controlled myself a little too much, where I didn't allow me naturally to come out, because I was afraid. What if I drank and I act this way? Or and I was a nanny at the time. I had 3 little girls that were going to be watching the show too. So I didn't want to act a certain way. You know, it's all. Yeah. Or if my parents watched it, my mom was always like, when you step out of this house, you represent us. So it was a lot in your own mind going on at that time, to be like, I have you telling me what to do for production, and then it's like your camera's in your face and new people, and you know people are going to be at home watching you, and it's a lot. So I wish that I would have, honestly, if I was me now, it wouldn't have been a problem, but me then, I cared too much, and that was the challenge, is caring too much about outside opinions.
I always say that. Yeah, I feel like I'm in like my late 20s now, but in the early 20s, I feel like when I was younger, you just always care like way too much what people think, and then as you get older, you're just like, none of that even matters. Like, just
you feel more comfortable. I was not comfortable in my own skin then. I'm super comfortable now. I care less what anyone thinks. If you don't like me, it's not my problem. Like, it's not my job. Like me. But then I wanted it so bad. I just wanted, I don't know what I wanted, because I didn't know what I in life, what I wanted then. So that's what made it the challenge, is not knowing who I was. So I didn't really know what to do in the situation or how to act.
And do you have any favorite like memories, any memorable moments?
Okay, so the definite one, just the one of us leaving. So it was me, Christy, and Lacey. We were sitting. It felt like a bus from camp, because it was just like the bench seating. We all thought we were going to die in this thing. She kept calling us the No Rose Hose are going to die in this minivan, because he just floored it through the canyons. We were bouncing. At one point, I don't get car sick like that. We all thought we were going to throw up. I was like,
oh my God,
we're all going to die. I don't know what's going on. There was no seatbelt. And he was just flying, and we were hitting like every bump in the world. And we were, I just remember, that's how I like initially bonded with him, with Lacey and Christy that night, was running home, like going home with them, because we were like holding each other's arms and trying to stabilize ourselves in this van. And like, this is how we die. Like, we're going to leave in our gowns, the crack of dawn, and we're going to die in a van on the way home.
No, that must have been so scary.
Yeah, because I felt like
it's wild.
It was nice because I got to go home with a couple of the girls, but normally like only like 1 or 2 go home. But when you go home, like, no one walks you to the end of a development, because the house that you're in a development. Like, there is normal people around you, but you're walking in this neighborhood, and they're just like, just go to the street, just go to the road, and you're like, what? Like, in these heels, in this gown, and you're just walking. And you're kind of by yourself until you see all the other women standing there, because it's whoever's done their interviews first. And they just make you walk like the mile down the road in heels and just wait for your van.
So do you pack before the rose ceremonies, or do they give you time like after? Like, how does that work?
Well, from what I remember, we got ready in our rooms at the hotel in Malibu, and then they said, leave all your stuff. They take all of your luggage. So you pack up and get ready to go. So everything's at the house. If you don't make it past the rose ceremony, your stuff comes out and you'll see it.
Okay.
Like at the curb. So like waiting for you.
It's so harsh. It's so harsh.
It really is. It's just all this like schmoozing and fluff and like, oh, we love you, and handling, and you have handlers. If you have someone call you, like for a couple weeks prior, what do you want in the house? What kind of food do you want? Is there hair products that you need? Like, you have basically your own personal assistant. You have your own producer. Each person is designated their own producer and their own handler. So you're
Wow.
constantly like in contact with someone, and then all of a sudden you don't get a rose, and they're like, you're done. Like, it is like a ghosted relationship. So
That's
you're just like months of talking to someone and going through the process, and then it's done and over, and you're done.
yeah.
That just
So
happens.
it seems
And then
like
they
a
own
quick.
you for like 5 years.
So how does that work with contracts? Did you have to sign something where you couldn't like talk about your experience after like X amount of years or?
Yeah, so you get a contract. I worked for an attorney's office at the time, so it was perfect. I just gave it to them and said, what can I do? Can I get out of this? And
Mhm.
yes, there's like loopholes, but you get $5 million fine. I don't know what it is now, but in the contract, if you're not allowed to, at the time it was only Facebook was in it, and it was, you're not allowed to go on Facebook and tell anybody. They're like, you can't even tell your parents. Like, are you kidding? Like, I have to tell my parents.
Yeah.
I talk to them all the time. They're going to want to know where I am. Like, oh, I just left
Right.
in California. Can't talk to you for X amount of time. So I
No.
told my parents, but you're not allowed to talk about it. You're not allowed to post anything. You're not allowed to try to contact nothing. And then when you get on the show, when you come off of it, you're still not allowed to contact anyone. Which Lacey, I'm not going to get her in trouble, but she, like, I don't know how she did this, but she's like the biggest social butterfly in all of them. Like, a lot of the things I would probably not have gone to if it wasn't for her, but she knew like everybody's telephone number. She contacted me immediately. So it's like, how did
I
you
love
get
that.
this? Like, where did you get it from? Who gave you a pen and paper? Like, where did you even pull it out from? I have no idea how she did it, but she organized like a lot of meets and everything. And as soon as
Oh,
we
that's
got
nice.
home, I was like, how did you figure out everyone's contacts and put everyone on like a group chat, and it was like ready to go? But yeah.
But that's nice that you got to talk to girls who were in like the same boat as you.
Yeah, it was. It was really
Yeah.
nice. And it was cool because it was just interesting meeting new people, and I like meeting new people from all over the place. It's hard because the area that I'm in, the people aren't as nice, but meeting everybody outside of the Northeast, everyone's so nice. And like, all my closest friends are all over the United States now because of the Bachelor. Like, they're all over.
Right.
But it's crazy the relationships that come out of it and how close you become.
That is really nice.
I really like it. Yeah.
Do you have advice for anybody who wants to apply to be on the show? Maybe don't do it.
I was going to say, if you do it,
No.
if you do it, don't. I was going to say, make sure, the same thing. Pace yourself throughout the night. Bring a burner phone. And if you can, I was like, what I did was, everyone was like, did everyone spend all their money? They give you a lot of money. Try and like portion out your food and pocket the rest. Yeah, because I walked home with a couple $100 because they don't pay you. But
wow,
they don't get paid. Only
does the Bachelor get? Okay, they get paid. The person who's
paid.
the Bachelor.
Yeah.
Okay.
And
which I think that's interesting though, because the ladies, you're providing entertainment, even the people that are there. So it's like, why just him?
Well, that's what I was thinking at the same time. I was like, how is it that all of these people can just leave jobs or whatever else for X amount of time? Because you don't know. They tell you to take off 3 months, but you could be home with any time within that 3 months. Well, how do you supposed to tell an employer or anybody else, or who's got income? I don't know. Like, at the time, I had graduated. I was paying off student loans, getting a job and everything. Like, I didn't have the savings to just say I have 3 months to just start paying bills, and then who's going to pay my bills for me while I'm gone?
Right.
So it's interesting. That and medication too. It's like you're on medication, because they take it from you and they give it to you. So it's like you have someone that holds all of your stuff. So if you have medication that needs to be refilled, that's a whole process.
Really?
It's not a big process. And they don't tell you.
Oh, I don't know how I would like that. If I have medication, I wouldn't want somebody else, like, because you don't know, people are crazy.
Right. And like,
I want to hold my own stuff.
How do you get it back when you get kicked out? Like, they have like 3 months of your medication. My insurance already covered all that. Like, I need that back.
Right.
But it's just, It's not. It's funny with I don't know how other people did it when they try out, but my boyfriend pissed me off, and I said, you know what? I'm following The Bachelor. Submitted a photo, and somehow it just kind of like happened. And then I
Yeah,
got an
something's
email
just
that was, I can send you. I think I still have some of the stuff of them asking me if you wanted it. I don't know.
yeah, I'd be
Find
curious
some
to
of
see
my
it.
stuff. The contract, I have the acceptance I actually found because I had just moved. I'm actually staying with my parents right now. I'm in their basement.
That's so funny.
Trying to, I'm building up around
Oh,
here.
that's
So
exciting.
everything's in storage, but going through everything, I was like, oh my gosh, I just threw this out. It was letters from The Bachelor saying, like, congratulations, you've made it on the show. And I was like, holy crap. Like, I
Oh.
had this letter. But yeah, they make you do a whole bunch of stuff. Like, they give you a list of interview questions. You have to have someone interview you. And it was my mom at the time, but like in a Jewish family, she was like, like stereotypical Jewish mom, asking the questions but answering them for me. So I'm sitting there, and it's me, and I'm just like, whatever. She's answering the questions. So they love my mom. So everyone's like, did she get me on the show? So they came to Philly. They met her. She kept like sneaking into the interview, and they're like, come on in, Jen.
Oh.
Come on over. I feel like.
And that's a shame that they didn't want you to share more of your culture on the show. Like, why? I don't understand. Like, be more diverse, share
Yeah, but like
share
not
different
because
cultures.
like I would say like conservative a little bit, like in between conservative reform. I love the
Yeah.
traditions, celebrate all the holidays, Shabbat on Friday nights, but I don't do Shabbat where like I shut down everything on Friday and don't talk to anyone until Saturday night. Like, no, I'll rip it off. So I I feel like I should have, and I think I've listened too much to advice from other people too, that I got so nervous and became a little bit more reserved because I was like, there's so many things that I need to remember to not do or not say because I don't want to become like just the Jewish girl on the show, and now they're going to be making me like whatever. But it kind of it's kind of sad that they don't let you kind of just be who you are. Because then you could learn from other people that way. Because then,
Right.
like that, I'm like an idiot because I'm not kosher. I don't know the rules. If someone asks me, I answer it incorrectly, I'm just now, disrespected an entire group of people or like got it wrong because I can't stand when someone tries to say
when they try to say,
yeah, like you don't know what you're talking about. Just gave us a bad name. But yeah, I tried to stay away from all of that, and I think because of my age then, I wouldn't say the age, because there are people that are, like when they are 25, they're a lot more mature, but I think at that time in my life, I was insecure and I just didn't know who I was. So I feel like that was my regret, was going on too early. But it was just supposed to be like a stick it to my ass. It wasn't supposed to really happen. I didn't really think it was going to happen.
I could see how intimidating that is, though. Like, you have all these cameras, you're nervous about what you're going to say, you don't want to say the wrong thing, then producers are chiming in your ear. It's just like, it's a lot.
It is, because when you're in those interviews, so you had an interview with a bunch of producers, and one of the interviews is you walk in, and it's like 15 or 20 chairs in front of you, and they're all producers, and it's just you. And they're asking you all kinds of questions, and you don't know if they're asked, like how they ask it. It's almost like, I don't know what kind of answer they're looking for, because it's like the most, I don't know how to explain it. They'll be like, so do you get along with men? Because it doesn't seem like the way that they ask it will be like, well, what are they looking for? Well, yeah, I do. They want almost someone that says, no, I don't, because they want the conflict. They want the drama, which I don't have a problem with anyone until they have a problem with me. But either way, like, I'm not really a confrontational person. So it's just, it's kind of like, I don't know what you're looking for or what you want from me. So yeah, it does.
And that's so evil. Like, it's so evil to do that to people. Just so unkind. And I feel like I get, like, I mean, not that I want to say I get it, because I don't get how they could do that, but they want to have drama so it's entertaining for people to watch. But I feel like people also want to see like would appreciate seeing a love that's real, like watching like, wow, these two people. And sometimes you're not really getting that in most of the seasons because it just comes off as so like not genuine.
Exactly. Yeah. And
Mhm.
everything's such a small period of time that you don't get to really see people's personalities. Like if you
Mm.
have that one show I love, the Temptation Island. Because like
Oh, I
the
love that
three of us,
show.
the best show in the world.
That
I'm
is
obsessed
so
with it.
temptation. Yeah, that is so
So funny.
entertaining. It's
It's
so
actually
funny.
my ringtone for my brother because we text each other when it comes on. He goes,
Oh,
"You're not going to get me." And I have him singing it, and that's his ringtone, and that comes on. It's, every time he texts me, it's because "You're not going to tempt me." But we died.
that's
But you
so
get to
funny.
see all of their personalities
Yeah,
in a
it
way.
does feel like, yeah, you are getting the
Yeah,
real personalities. You are.
right. I
It
mean,
does
I'm
feel that way.
sure some of it's a little bit controlled, but it's definitely different when I look at the
Mm.
comparisons between The Bachelor and Temptation Island. It's a little bit more loose and relaxed, I want to say.
Have you ever watched Love Island, like USA or
Oh, yeah,
UK? Oh, I
yeah.
love those shows. Yeah, yeah.
Love
Even
all of
those
them.
seem like I think it's better because you have the mix of like it's not just one guy with a bunch of girls. There's more people, like more
Exactly.
chances, more stories.
Right. But I
Yeah.
think I'd be a nut job on that too because I am territorial.
Oh yeah,
So,
yeah. I couldn't
yeah,
handle it.
I don't know.
I would. Oh no, I would have a breakdown. I couldn't handle it.
Yeah. Like I watch these girls now and I'm like, how are they so cool about it? Like, yeah, go ahead, go hook up with him. It's okay. Like,
No.
no,
Oh hell no.
I don't even look at him. Like,
Yeah.
I don't understand. I'd be like
No, I'm
total
the same way.
crazy.
Mhm.
Yeah. Don't touch them. Don't look at them. I've like laid claim to that. Yeah. No. Yeah.
Yeah. So what are your long-term goals now? What have you been up to? I saw on your social media that you have a business or something.
Yeah, so well before the pandemic I had started in my ex who we actually became really good friends. He's a
Oh, that's
contractor
nice.
and I had been trying to get into for a while with like flipping and everything. I met a developer and we
Oh.
started transforming warehouses in Philadelphia into apartment buildings. So I started doing that with him, but then on my own I want to start building up in Bucks County more like custom homes. So
Mm.
slowly starting to really kind of get into that, but also working with renovations, flipping, consulting. I'm working with them right now. They're doing a ground up like barn house, which is it's really cool, the house that they're doing. So it's really exciting. I like that kind of stuff. But so far, just hanging out with the cats, single cats living in the basement until
Love it.
everything's ready. Have you ever thought about going on The Bachelor?
Some of my friends have told me, but they're like, "Oh, I'm going to sign you up. You should go on." But I feel like my worst fear would be getting a bad edit because it's like you really have no control. It's not like,
Yeah,
you're signing up for something and I feel like the producers and everything, it's just so controlled that it's like you don't even know the experience that you're going to
yeah,
have. Like they can manipulate I don't know.
yeah, it's true. But you'll meet amazing people.
That's true. That's true. And look at how you made so many friends and it's such a good
So much.
experience.
And a
Yeah.
lot of like my friends have met other people. Like I've dated guys from the other shows because they're like, oh, yeah, he's really cute too. Can't wait
Oh
for
wait.
him to
Oh,
come.
that's fun.
Yeah. So like Nick Peterson, is it Peterson or Patterson? Peterson. Sorry, I know it's Patterson and a Peterson, so I guess I'm confused. He used to live in Tampa, and he just recently, a couple years ago, moved up to Philly. So he's up
Mhm.
here, adorable, gorgeous, but he's dating someone now. But you're like,
Ooh.
who's coming in that's new or fresh meat? Now everyone's just like getting younger and younger, so it's kind of like, well, they're young. But
Yeah.
those seasons right after mine, we were all like, who's coming in? Because it was nice. They got to come to. We did a Vegas reunion right after their show wrapped. We got to meet like people from former seasons, my season, and then the season that just wrapped. So it was like all new guys.
Oh,
So that
that's
was
so
nice.
fun.
Yeah,
And you got to like mix and mingle.
yeah, yeah. In Vegas, and they pay for everything. So, and then we did one in Chicago. That was a lot of fun.
Yeah, I feel like to go on the show, like I feel like you'd have to have a mindset of just like, you're there to network, make friends, and then if it if it happens with the guy, it happens, and then if it
Yeah,
doesn't, that's just like how, yeah.
yeah. I went on because make my ex mad, travel for free.
Have fun. Yeah.
Those were the things. Yeah, and whatever happens, happens. Because I was like,
And whatever happens, happens.
yeah, I wanted to be the Bachelorette. They wouldn't let me be it. So I was like, gotta get on the show to like go through the whole thing. I thought I had it all lined up with Chris. Nope.
I would have loved
But
to see you as the Bachelorette. You're so fun.
it was
Like,
fun.
you're very animated. I think it would have been fun. Yeah.
Thank you.
Yeah.
Yeah, no, I mean, I would have been fun now because I have no tolerance for any guy. So it's like
Yes.
one thing, and I'm like, no, we're done. Like literally, I've never got up and left a date when I was younger. I've gotten up and been like, we're done here. Yeah, yeah, I love it. Love dating now, but fun.
Yeah.
But then I took everything way too seriously. Then
Oh, yeah. It's like
yeah,
that when you're younger, when you're finding yourself and you're unsure of
yeah,
yourself. That's like that phase, like we all go through it. Yeah.
yeah. Like I want to be more mature. Like I can handle this situation a little more. Than I act a little too like serious that I forgot to have fun. And I think that's like
Mm.
one of the biggest things was, yeah, try to have just fun with it. And might as
That's
well.
good
If they're
advice too.
gonna,
If anyone is like looking to go on the show, if you're listening to this, like just have fun, you know?
yeah, if they're gonna edit you might as well have fun doing it.
Yeah, that's true. That's
So
true.
yeah, go down swinging, or laughing, or whatever you want. Go down crazy, as we would say.
Yeah.
But yeah, it was a wild ride. It was a lot of fun because after it, I traveled. I was actually talking to my mom about this last night. We traveled a lot after the show, like just with the girls. Like we did a lot of states and fun things. We
Oh,
did.
that's so fun.
We went 1 year to Arizona for spring training or whatever. And we hung out with No
Mm.
Sean Marino, became really good friends with him. One of the he was what was he, Broncos, the Denver Broncos running back or something.
Okay.
Became good friends with him. Now he's retired. But like you just meet really cool people.
Yeah, you
And
get
then
invited to like cool things.
yeah, cool things. Even like people from the show Survivor like would reach out and like
Oh,
try
I
and hang
love
out.
that show.
Yeah. So it'd be like cross shows. You just really meet like really cool people.
Yeah. That's definitely seems like the best part about it is like the networking and the people that you
Really.
meet.
Yeah. I mean, I feel bad for the people now just because of social media and influencers and everything like that. Like before when you
Mm.
went on, like you didn't have any of that and people you felt like were there more genuinely versus either to
Right.
promote something or to get noticed and become
Mhm.
famous off of the show from that. I mean, it's hard
And it's
these days.
crazy to think about. Like, imagine you go on the show, you make it somewhat far, and then you're able to come off and you have this whole career where you're literally you can support yourself, like literally
Right.
fully support yourself
So,
from being
I
an
mean,
influencer.
I would love that, but I mean,
It's wild.
that wasn't back then. That wasn't the goal. I feel like
Mm.
now it is possibly. So it's just hard these days. You just don't know who's genuine and who's not in
Yeah. Yeah,
general.
even
So,
outside of the whole influencer thing, it's like
yeah.
genuine. Everybody has their
But
motives.
I think about it too. In some ways, if you're on the show, it's like back then getting on the show, people were still trying to do that. Like, well, if I don't make it on the show or make it this far, maybe I will get noticed. So now you definitely have a little bit
Mhm.
more of that happening because of it, social media.
Right.
But
And then you have like Twitter. I feel like some of the girls get bullied so badly, and then you're eliminated, you come off, and then you have to scroll through social media and see people saying just horrible things about you.
oh yeah, I mean,
Not
I've
easy.
never had a nose job before, but people are horrible. They just rip into you. Like as soon as your profile pictures hit, they were like, "She's got the worst nose job in the world." I'm like, "But I never had a nose job."
No,
You
it's
know, you're
true.
just saying I had a bad nose. It's like, what's happening? It's like so many things that they pick apart of you, and you're just like, wow, people just really are really neat, like just not nice. And that's even before
They're
they
not
even see
nice.
people on TV. It's just your photo. But yeah. But I remember because my
Mhm.
sister's name is Brielle, Michelle Money's daughter's name is Brielle. So when she came on the show, I think she had like a 7-year-old daughter. I think Brielle was 7 at that time. My sister was 21, but she had made an account called like Brielle, New Jersey or something. And she went on and like attacked back, whatever. And then they were like, Michelle Money's daughter creates account. And I was like, no, that's my I was like, oh, don't say anything. I was like, delete the account. Delete the account. So
Oh my God.
I was like, oh no. And they're like, who would do this? Who would try and act like my daughter? I was like, I have no idea what you're talking about.
I don't know who it is. That is
Leave them in 100% the entire time. Now she'll probably find out like how many years later we've denied it since forever. But yeah, she got some flack. Like she got some crap for that. Like, oh, Michelle Money, she's creating fake accounts under her daughter's name. Blah 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 blah. I'm like, oh, my sister. But yeah, it's interesting. Yeah.
What I've always found crazy too is, you know who Reality Steve is?
Yeah. So Christy was like best friends with him. She would give him all the dirt all the time, and I was like, what are you doing?
Because that's what I was gonna say. I'm like, wait a minute, how is this guy Reality Steve? How he guesses it right from like every single elimination, and then you wonder like, how is he finding this out? Is he paying like are girls talking with him? Like, how does this happen?
Yeah, because I was like, what are you doing? Like, who are you talking to? She's like, Reality Steve. I'm like, stop feeding him information. Like, what are you doing? I'm like, you are one of them. Yeah. Yeah, Reality Steve. She had him. He's like always texting her, especially when we were all together. So I was like, stop telling him things. Like the house.
And then do you find out like after you were off and the girls all talking, would you kind of find out like who was left, or did you find out as you were watching it, not until it aired, or would it kind of go through like word of mouth? You all kind of knew like who won.
So we had like a group chat. So whoever got eliminated, we'd be like, oh, guess who's entering the group chat now? Like, we all know. And then she would fill us in on like what was going on after we all got eliminated, like what she experienced as an update. And then it just kept coming. And we did have, for like the last couple girls, our season, it was great in the beginning. And then there were the girls that used to call themselves the elite.
The elite?
Like, elite. So I remember this, Graham Bunn used to do this Alex's Lemonade stand in New York every year. And it was like every September we would do it in Central Park. And we make a whole weekend out of it. But he now recently, he's in California, so he doesn't do it anymore. But the last time we did it, Christy finally came for one of them. And we're in this New York, we're in a restaurant, and Christy wants to go up and say hi to the girl. I forget the girl's name. I'm like, in my mind, I know her name. I think it's Ashley. Should I say it? It's Ashley Spivey. And
okay.
There was a couple of them. And she went over to say hi to him, and she was like, didn't you get eliminated early? We're the elite. I was like, Christy, get your ass over there right now. You not talking to them. Are you out of your mind? Like, who says something like that? I don't know. So yeah, there are like bitchy little cliques.
Yeah, yeah.
But you kind of just stay away from them. You don't get invited to the pool.
Oh, that's so much like really, come on.
Yeah. But like, who says so? Like, guys, the elite, you really gonna do that? Call yourself the elite? Whatever. But like, and that's why we're not friends. No. But it was like the same girl when Christy passed away was the same one to say how good friends they were, and I was like, oh no. You told her that you were an elite. You didn't even want to have anything to do with her. So it was just
not cool.
Yeah. So yeah, it's like high school in some ways. It's like your seniors, your newies, like the freshmen come in, and like all the guys that you're like, oh my god, that hot one from whatever season, like fresh meat kind of thing. And then you have the girls that are like, oh great, our guys are gonna go for the girl. Yeah, it kind of gets a little like that. But
and do you think any of the girls like coming off? Did anyone have like they were sad, like they sad because they genuinely were connecting with him, or do you think that like maybe? So so there were girls that were really like, wow, they really saw themselves like with Brad, with him.
Here's the thing. I think it's interesting because right off when they come off, especially the ones that have lasted a really long time, they'll come off because you're in such like this weird days. Like if you're there for a week, it feels like a year. If you are with him and you spent so much time with him, you feel like you're in this relationship. I mean, I didn't feel that way, but other women have felt that way. And everything is so romanticized. You're like jet setting nonstop, and you're in these amazing places, great food, setting so romantic. They set everything up like, like a fairy tale. And then you come home and you're like, was I in love with like the possibility, or now that that's gone and everything's starting to fade, like then you sit back and you're like, wait a second, like the whole situation was messed up. And then you're like, wait, what just happened? Like you go through
Yeah.
like the 5 stages of grief.
Yes.
In a way,
You really,
like,
yeah.
the
Yeah.
mourning of the possibility, the anger that it took you so long and it ended like this or whatever else. And yeah, it's nuts. But then you have the people that think that they had a genuine connection, but they come home and they say, you know what? I think it was just it was a situational
Yeah.
attachment.
I
Because,
can see
yeah,
that. Like you're so in the moment. Like imagine like you're with this guy and it's this magnificent, extravagant date and things are just so romanticized. And then you're kind of like go home and you're like,
yeah. And then sometimes because I can be very competitive, do I like him because I'm trying to win? That I want
yes.
him to like me more than the next girl, or like now is it just like a competition? It's very confusing. Your emotions get very confused. I'm very emotional, so
Yeah. No, me too. I would have a hard time.
yeah. I would say if you are an emotional person, just be careful because you can be your own worst enemy.
Mm.
So yeah, especially when you're under those conditions of sleep deprivation, alcohol. You know, you have other people trying to make you jealous by saying certain things. It can be a hard situation. It's challenging, but it was fun. I'd do it again in a second. Just to meet
Yeah.
the people. That also, but
Yeah.
to come in as me now, I think, tear it up.
That's like one of the best parts of life though, right? Like getting to meet people and
Yeah,
human like connections. So that's like something special.
it is. And it's good too, like networking. Like if you do any kind of networking with anybody, because you have so many people and they're all across the United States where it's like, oh, I could call so-and-so over here and they know somebody. Everyone knows somebody too. So it's good in that sense. So like, oh, like we really needed someone in more, I don't know what to say, like in mortgages or whatever. And we had someone that was like the VP that was ready to go. So I thought, oh, in an hour, I put this on Do Not Disturb and it just turned off. All right.
I know, right? I feel like there's so much like that we talked about. It was,
I'm going to follow up. I would be happy to do follow up.
yeah, this was a great. I feel like we have like a good like flow
Yeah,
going.
it's good.
Yeah.
About
So
anything else.
yeah. Well, thank you to Britnee for coming on. You guys stay tuned because maybe we'll have a part 2 to talk some
Ooh,
more.
love it. Yeah, I'll go and I'll grab some stuff. I'll grab some of my old like emails and things if I can, and I'll send them over to you if you want to take a look at them as
Yeah.
well. I'm like weird about signing off. I like never know what to do.
I know, me
I'm always like,
too.
hey, bye, hey, bye, yay, bye,
Right. Bye.
bye.
That is so funny.
I know, right? All right, I'm really good to hang up.